Well, hello again, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, cardboard crawlers of all nations. Whether you've been naughty or nice, I hope you're enjoying everything this fine holiday week. Christmas is just around the corner, and perhaps you're going to get a new crawler, perhaps you're going to get a new basher, who knows? I believe I'm just going to be spending a little bit of money on my nephews and wishing for a new job of some kind. So, yeah, we'll see how all that goes. I know I'm not buying anything for myself. That would just not be wise at this point. When I have some more discretionary income, I'll go ahead and purchase a couple things that I may or may not have been wanting, and honestly, not much in the 24 scale world has piqued my interest lately. I definitely have been looking at some 10th scale stuff. I think that Ascent for $299 seems like a really good deal. I mean, I know how it goes. You're going to end up putting a little bit of money into it to make it what you want, but at least you're starting with something that is not just extravagantly expensive. Although I do really love the Vanquish RTR Fordice that they have for $399 right now. I think that's a heck of a rig for that price, and if I had the money, I think I'd jump on at least one of those. I really wanted a Fordice when they first came out, and I think that they're a beautiful rig and just have so much potential. Plus the Vanquish name, you really can't go wrong with that. The fact that it comes with the ability to just hook a servo up for dig and for the 2-speed makes it really nice. So yeah, I mean that's a dream truck, but I'm not a heavy dreamer, more of a realist, and I realistically know that I don't have money to spend on that kind of thing right now, so not a big deal. First world problems. I got plenty of fun trucks and some parts to do upgrades to them if I need it, if something breaks or whatnot. As a matter of fact, these two rigs that we're looking at right here, I just put a heavier spring rate in both of these rigs. I was running the softest spring rate in that black rig there, and then I went to the heaviest, and those are only 36 millimeter hot racing friction shocks, but they definitely have some dampening built in. The way that hot racing builds their shock is, I think, a little bit different. It has a rubber seal at the bottom of it. They're a little bit different than, say, a double barrel, or even just a single style, a single barrel style shock of a different brand. So they're real nice. I did rubber band them, and then just to bring my ride height down just a touch. I could have laid them out a little bit more, but I like where they're at, and just putting like the medium-sized Goodies rubber band on each one of them kind of adjusted where my ride height sits, and it's still with the extra firm spring. What it does is it's able to push. You're able to fill the hole. That's what you want from a crawler. You don't need very much up travel at all, like very little. You need down travel. You want your tires to go down, filling holes and reaching out to touch rocks. So that's the way I set that one up, and man, it has a whole different life to it. Like, it's just crawling quite a bit differently. It's pretty low slung. Would almost be considered a belly dragger, I think. And then with the Gladiator, it has a 48 millimeter double barrel shock in that, and so that I also put the heaviest spring rates that I have. The Silver Spring went in those. I was running, and when I took them apart, I realized I had put a silver spring rate on one of them and had the golds on the other 3, and so then I just I put 4 brand new springs in them just to make sure that silver spring wasn't like out of a 43 millimeter or anything. And I had them set up with like the old style Texoma spring mod, but I find that with rubber bands, what I did is I put a little tighter rubber band on these. And once again, you don't need a lot of up travel. You want down travel. See how that wheel is just pushing down away from the body, down into that hole? That's what you want. You need that for a rock crawler. It's gonna compress, but what you want is for it to extend. So it's really filling the gaps. It's really filling the holes. You'll see it reach out here again and touch a rock. I'll try to point it out when I can. But I felt like I was getting a lot of body rub, getting a lot of tire bite, the way I had them set up before with the softer springs on them. And I just really wanted to be able to, change it up. So that's what I did yesterday when it was just pouring down rain. I didn't film it. I haven't been filming much bench work lately. I don't know. You can let me know in the comments if you want that kind of stuff filmed. But it just seems like that's just not where my channel is right now. Maybe if I was doing a full build on something, I might show you some of that. But I don't know. I've already done a video on taking springs off of a shock that's put together, and with the hot racing ones, you just take the top cap off and then the spring cup off and put new springs on it. With the 43 millimeters, I spun them. You get in between the spring and you get the first coil off on the outside of the shaft itself, and then you can just twist them off and you don't damage the spring, and then you twist new ones right back on that way. And I have if you go back about 400 videos, you can find that. It's Endura spring replacement trick, I think is what that is titled. Spring replacement, Endura shock replacement, perhaps. I don't know the exact title of the video, but you should be able to find it. So yeah, and then both of these are running like a Chirac tire, and I noticed that, and some people say, oh, well, they're non-directional. Well, they are directional. If you really look at the tire, you can see that the treads kind of have a swept back effect if you're running them. You could run them swept forward, but I believe that swept back is the way that they should be. If you look closely there, the outer lugs have an angled back appearance from when you're looking at them from above. So they are directional. You need 2 rights and 2 lefts set up. And when I was taking it, once I had the Gladiator all apart, I realized that one of my tires I had 3 rights and 1 left, basically. So I took the time to take it apart and rebuild it as a left. And I also realized that I have no brass in those tires, but I have a ton of brass on that rig as far as the Hot Team Racing brass portals that are on that rig, so it has a lot of unsprung weight down low. And I have a set of brass rings sitting here, but I decided not to throw them on. I didn't want to go through the trouble of taking each one of those wheels apart. It just didn't feel like something fun to do, and so I did not do that. And I like the way that rig performs. It does very well, other than the small amount of steering angle that it has. That's its only downfall. If anyone has been able to find CVDs that work in that, please let me know. I'd love to figure that out, but I just don't think anyone has them. I don't think anyone's figured that out yet. So I do have some odd size CVDs sitting here. Some of the wrong size CVDs got sent out for China for the nylon portal axles, and I think that I kept a set. I have to double check my packages. I have one set that's out, and I think that might be them. And I could try those. I just, if it's not broken, I don't like taking stuff apart and fiddling with it. It's not my favorite thing to do. I don't know why, but I'm just not a fiddler like that. Once they're built, and they run until they break, and then I fix the broken parts. Yeah, old Blue Dog doing good after his sickness and then his injured ankle. He's, I'd say 100%. He's a good old boy, and been chilling out here with me today. And we went over and saw old George and played a little bit over there. Went over to Jimmy's a couple different times today and got some treats, so that was always, Blue loves that part of his day. And then this is a fun little uphill climb right here, and I put the Gladiator up through it, and without even thinking about it, I'm just like, oh yeah, just going forward, and so it's a pretty steep climb, and then I don't put the little cliffhanger through there, even though I don't know, I might be able to make it. But once again, I think I did something to my controller the other day. I dropped it, and it sent me into this funky mode where it was like telling me that I had to retitle all my cars, and I think it changed the throttle curve on all of my stuff. So I think I need to go in and reset the throttle curve on this truck. I know I reset it on the C10, but that one definitely needed to be reset. It wasn't ever set kind of where I wanted it anyway. But this is still a fun climb coming up through this way right here. Letting those B-blocks get some work here. And just bring it up and around the corner, and it gave a pretty good view. I like it. Get in the process of working on selling. My dad has a Mustang, 64 and a half, 65 Mustang, but it's one that was built in early 1964. Or I guess, how does that work? Late 1964? Yeah. So it's a 64 and a half is what they consider it. They don't really list them that way, but when you look at the date on the bin, it was built in mid-64. So it's super clean rig, and I need to bleed some brakes on it. I think that the last carburetor that got put on it, you have to remember my dad had a head injury 6 years before he died. He had a lemon-sized glioblastoma removed from his right frontal cortex, and so he was not always thinking as clearly as possible towards the end of his life, and he did some work to that car that needs to be just double-checked. So one of the vacuum lines for the power brakes was, he hooked it up wrong, I believe, and so you get some weird braking action, and I need to fix that. And my buddy, his buddy and ours, Craig, is working on the carburetor. The float was sticking open, but that often happens on those carbs. Just when those cars aren't run on a regular basis, the ethanol and the fuel that we use is, just eats them up, and they just go bad. So what we'll do is he's got a kit coming to rebuild that, and that's off the car and ready to be rebuilt. He'll work on that. I think he'll get that kit this week, and maybe he'll work on it before Christmas, and then hopefully I can get that car going and get it sold. And the whole point of that conversation right there was that my little silver Subaru is sitting over there under the trees just getting hammered. And then that car needs to go into once the Mustang's sold, then the little Subaru needs to go into the shop area and get cleaned up and fixed up, and it needs a new clutch, and probably while it's getting a new clutch, take out the motor in it and redo the top end in that thing. And my nephews are getting to that age where they could help a little bit with that if they wanted to. One of my nephews wants to be a race car driver when he grows up, so maybe we'll work on building that little car and trading it for a couple of shifter carts or something, or maybe, I don't know, turn it into a little dirt racer or something, a little get him, his first race car, just straight out of Grandpa's shop, Uncle Zach's shop. And like I said, these are all first world issues. It's nothing that like has to be done right away. Like, we don't have to sell that Mustang, but it's not really something that me or my sister or my mother really care about. Like, that car is not sentimental to us at all. It was very sentimental to my dad. It belonged to his mother. His dad bought it for his mom, and then my dad later in his life just couldn't quite let it go. But to me, it's always been just kind of a pain in my butt. Like, I've had to work on it every few years with my dad, and it's always just this thing where it's not enjoyable to me. I hardly ever got to drive it, and it's just not something I care about or love. And it's probably once those couple of small items get fixed, it's a super clean car. It's a one family car. Like I said, it belonged to my dad's mother and then to my dad. And it's been garaged all of its life, never been in the sunshine other than on a road trip during the day, or parked overnight at a hotel here or there. But it has never been outside for extended periods of time in its life, so it is like clean as a pin, and all original interior, factory in-dash air, and all the bells and whistles. And she's pretty. She's just a white coupe with blue interior, and it does have a 302 in it, not the 289 that it came with. A 302 crate motor was put into it a few years ago. So it's a sweet little rig, and I think it's a $20,000 car all day long. So that's around what we're going to ask for it, maybe a couple grand more, and then negotiations will ensue. And there's a little coffee and cars that kind of goes on once a month, like every third Thursday of the month, over at a little restaurant in town. And once it gets running, I'll try to get it driven over there with a for sale sign in it, and talk to some guys. I recently talked to a guy that I ran into the other night, who was driving a really pretty 65 blue and white coupe, and gave him my number and said, hey man, if you know anybody that's looking, let me know. We have one. So, but remember, if you like this content, please subscribe, share, hit the like button, hit that share, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm putting out new content, which is regular, but it's not like it's daily. There is no set schedule to it. It is get in where it fits in. And hopefully Blue will be on board with us. He likes to be out while we're driving cars. He's on duty, making sure that nobody comes into the rocks that shouldn't be. And yeah, so I really like the way these trucks ran today. I liked the way the springs are working. It did what I wanted it to them. It gives them more stability and more articulation in the way that I want them to articulate. So, like I said, really appreciate all of y'all, and I hope you enjoy these little videos. This one is a little bit long at 20 minutes plus, so I understand if we're not watching the whole thing, but put them on and let it put you to sleep at night, and maybe it'll run through twice, and I'll get an extra view in there, and that really helps me with my ultimate goal of making more quality videos for y'all. So until then, until we see you again, cardboard crawlers out.